Jarren Duran was a superstar for the Boston Red Sox in 2023. But can he keep that up in 2024? More on today's Locked On Red Sox.
You are Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Gabby, former ESPN social media associate and current host of the Boston Balling podcast, and I am here to bring you the latest in all things Boston Red Sox, Monday through Friday, straight to your favorite podcast feed for free. And honestly, who doesn't love free? Yes, you heard that correctly. Might as well try it out if it's free, right? So head to Locked On Red Sox and start your day off the right way, as the Locked On Network is here for you with your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Congratulations on making it until almost the end of the week. It is Thursday. You are almost there. It's been very groggy here this week. Lots of rain. It hasn't been super cold, but the warmer weather is absolutely being ruined because of the rain. And I always say March is such a difficult month weather-wise. You don't really know what you're going to get, if you're going to get sun, if you're going to get clouds, if you're going to get rain, snow, or if it's going to be warm. But I'm just ready to move on to the spring warm weather. Take me away from winter. I'm so over it at this point. Bring me the nice baseball weather. We are so close. Opening day is almost here. And although there may not be a whole lot of things to be excited about with the Boston Red Sox heading into the 2024 season, especially due to the recent news of Lucas Giolito going in for a second examination on Monday to determine if he's going to need surgery and ultimately end up missing the whole 2024 season. So that could be a big blow to Boston. And I talked about on yesterday's episode kind of where the Red Sox go from here. What do they do if he has to miss the whole season? Do they try to sign a pitcher? Do they stick with what they have internally and hope that some players can pan out to be more than we're expecting them to be? But it puts the Red Sox in a tough spot. And there are a lot of people out there who are concerned, rightfully so, about how the season is going to go for Boston now, considering all of that and the fact that they didn't do a ton this offseason to improve the roster. But one player who we definitely can be optimistic and excited about going into 2024 is Jarren Duran. He had a great season in 2023, finished the year with a .295 batting average, 98 hits and 8 home runs. He also scored 46 runs and recorded 40 RBIs, and also had 24 stolen bases, which should not surprise anybody because he is super fast. It's one of his strengths that sets him apart. With an on-base percentage of .346 and a slugging percentage of .482 and an OPS of .828. So he was putting numbers up. He was getting on base pretty often and turning singles into doubles, again, utilizing that speed to create more than what the hit actually would have entailed for the average hitter, because in most cases you would see it hit and it looked like what should have been a single, but he would just motor himself to second base, and it was fun to watch. He's definitely a very fascinating player to watch, and he also is a diverse player. He's a lefty who throws right-handed, and his arm is an absolute cannon. He definitely showed some of that arm strength in the outfield last year for the Red Sox. And one of the biggest things that stood out to me about Jarren Duran was his versatility. Not only did he grow as a player offensively in the second half of the season, but he also grew defensively and was able to make a lot of things happen in a lot of different ways. He had such a breakout season as the Red Sox leadoff hitter. That's where he hit best, was when he was leading off. He played 102 games, and he just really showcased his ability to do a lot of different things. Now, he started off slow this spring training. He's only appeared in 3 games, going 1 for 6, and finished the win over the Rays, going 0 for 2 with a walk. He did leave that game early with an injury, and it just was one thing after another because it came after the news of the Lucas Giolito injury, and it was like, ugh, are you kidding me? Like, 2 players that could go down in the same day. But he actually struck out to end the top of the 3rd inning and then had to leave the game. He was seen flexing his left ankle during that at bat, and then so there was some uncertainty about whether he was going to be able to continue, what his season was going to look like. But Alex Cora, after the game, confirmed an optimistic update on him and basically said he's okay. His ankle is just a little bit tight, but that's it. And he is expected to play in the game today. His bothersome left ankle is actually in the same area of the injury he suffered in 2023 when he had to have season-ending surgery on his left big toe flexor tendon in August after that injury, climbing the wall at Yankee Stadium in chase of a home run ball. And it was disappointing because he was just having such a phenomenal year prior to that. But that's one thing to look out for, is it seems to be problems on the same ankle. And I hope the Red Sox are monitoring it, because what if it's not fully healed yet and he isn't ready to come back? Duran is a type of talent that I don't want to waste, and I don't want to see his talent and ability level feel like it just wasn't well spent. And part of the reason that I'm worried that this could cause that is because if they insist on him playing through it and he's still having underlying problems on that same ankle, and they haven't really honed in on or gotten to the bottom of what the problem actually is, that could be worse for him, to the point where he could start missing longer periods of time and maybe not ever get back to form. And I would rather see them take their time with him, bring him back when he's able to come back, and allow him to shine and be the level of talent that he was in 2023 with some growth added on to it. I don't want to see the Red Sox try to push him to come back earlier than need be. And I'm sure they know where he's at, but it definitely was a little worrisome to me that it was reported that it was in that same area as the 2023 injury. And maybe it's just because it's still a little bit tight due to the fact that he hadn't been seeing live pitching in a while, and he's just getting his body back acclimated to being out there on the field. So it could be something as simple as that, but I'm asking the Red Sox to continue to monitor it during the rest of spring training. And hopefully he's able to stay healthy this upcoming season, because I'm expecting a big year from him. In 2023, he did strike out 24.9% of the time compared to a 6.6% walk rate. And comparing that to his numbers in AAA, because he did spend some time in AAA during the season, that was a difference in the fact that his walk percentage was 19.6% and his K percentage was 21.6%. So when he was playing in the majors during that year, he was walking a lot less than he was in AAA. And again, he's still pretty new to being at the major league level, doesn't have a lot of experience under his plate. So he does need to continue to grow in his plate discipline a little bit, but he is going to make things happen, and he is going to be able to score runs and get himself on base. And keep in mind, that's such a small sample size for him in AAA in 2023. He only played in 11 games at that level. He spent the majority of the season up in Boston in the majors. So don't be alarmed by how different those numbers were, because he really didn't spend a lot of time down in Worcester. But I'm projecting him to have an even better year in 2024. I think he'll start to develop more of his power. He'll start to hit some more home runs going into this next season, and he'll be able to continue to be the stolen base king that he was in 2023. And I think what he has going for him is that his mental game has changed a lot. He's talked a lot about how he got a lot more confident in himself, and it allowed him to alter his game and play a lot differently than he was playing earlier on. And the mental component is such an important part of baseball that a lot of times people don't think about. And for him, he was able to hone in on that pressure that comes with being a Major League Baseball player and just embracing it and figuring out how to feel confident enough in himself where that pressure doesn't get to him too much. And that's how we saw a whole different player in the second half of the season. So I think he's a lot more confident now in his abilities and his talent level and his capability to produce for this team. And he needed to see those numbers and those results start to come to fruition before he could really feel that way. And now that he has done that and he has seen those direct results, now he can go into this upcoming season feeling even more confident. And I expect that to be the driving factor in him ultimately being a key member of the Boston Red Sox in 2024. Now, again, let's make sure he's fully healthy and that injury isn't lingering and bothering him. But if that's the case, expect big things from Jarren Duran in 2024. He put up very competitive numbers last year. He's only getting better and he's only going to continue to develop even more confidence. So he will be one of the best hitters consistently this season in the Red Sox lineup. Look for him to have almost a 300 average going into 2024. Look for him to be a consistent top-notch hitter in the Boston Red Sox lineup. There is a lot of evidence to say that he can be and he will be. He finds ways to get on base and his numbers will automatically be higher because he's fast. He can steal bases. He can turn singles into doubles, and he's just very diverse with his skill set. So big things are coming for Jarren Duran, and I'm very excited about that. Coming up, the Red Sox have made their first round of spring training roster cuts, and a notable pitcher is going to be spending a lot of time in AAA, so I'm going to be talking about that a little bit next. I like to watch a lot of different sports at once. I have this 2-screen method where if two of my favorite teams are playing at the same time, I put one on each screen. It's a lot of fun. It's a great way to consume sports if you ask me. But if you are the same way or you're just looking for a good option to get a lot of different sports, Amazon Fire TV is the destination for you. Fire TV is your destination for sports, from live games to highlights to in-depth analysis. Fire TV offers amazing viewing experiences with smart TVs, as well as the Fire TV stick that you can plug into your existing TV that provides access to millions of movies and TV episodes, as well as free and live TV. Whether it's opening weekend for baseball or the college basketball tournament, you're going to want to have a Fire TV. I like it a lot because it gives you a lot of different options of things to watch at different times. You could watch a couple different things at once if you want to. If you're feeling a movie or you're feeling live sports, you can watch that. Or you can just watch different TV shows if you have different live TV shows you like. Like I like watching the Game Show Network and games like Wheel of Fortune and Family Feud. Those are all super fun. So you can have certain channels like that where you can enhance your viewing experience with those. Fire TV recently created Fire TV channels to deliver a constant supply of the latest videos from your favorite sports brands, all for free. That includes all of us at Locked On and most of the big pro leagues and college conferences as well. Fire TV channels lets you dive into all of the game analysis, highlights, and more to keep up to date on all the latest in the world of sports. March Madness, NBA, MLB, and lots more. Not to mention great news, entertainment, gaming, travel, cooking videos as well. Check out Fire TV channels on Fire TV and Alexa devices. If you haven't checked out Fire TV channels, you should. Trust me on this. To learn more, visit www.amazon.com/LockedOnFireTV. The other great thing about Amazon Fire TV in the Fire TV channels app is it has Locked On Sports Today, which is the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel, and it's also available on YouTube. And all of the local experts of Locked On keep you up in all things going on in sports at any time of day, no matter what time zone you're in. So check out Locked On Sports Today as well. The Boston Red Sox have officially made their first set of spring training cuts, and there were a few less significant players who got moved. Right-handed pitchers Melvin Adone, Franklin Herman, and Alex Hoppe, along with left-handed pitcher Chris Olivares and catchers Nathan Hickey and Steven Scott, all got sent to minor league camp. So that basically means that they likely will just be in the minors, spending time there, and they will fight for positioning within the Red Sox system. So it will be a matter of what level do they start at going into the upcoming season. It could be AAA, it could be AA. It's hard to really know for sure. It's just a matter of how things play out for them for the rest of spring training, and then they'll get a position as to where they're going to start the season after that. But one notable pitcher is left-hander Brandon Walter. He got optioned to AAA Worcester, and he made 9 major league appearances last year. In those 9 appearances, he recorded a 6.26 ERA over 23 innings pitched and struck out 16. He certainly did struggle, but the Red Sox were backed into a wall last year where they didn't really have a lot of options of guys that they could use out of their bullpen. So Walter got his shot, and he didn't really showcase his best stuff then. So his role now, because he got optioned, he'll primarily serve as a depth option once the season begins, likely spending the majority of his time in Worcester's rotation. And then similar to last year, if they have to and somebody gets injured, they'll call him up and he might spend some time in the majors, but they're not really planning on utilizing him on the Boston Red Sox major league roster heading into the season. Now, the downside of that is by optioning him to AAA, the Red Sox are only left with 3 left-handed pitchers on the 40-man roster in big league camp. In Joely Rodriguez, who recently joined camp as a non-roster invitee and appears to have put himself in a position for a big league spot because he's been pitching very well so far in the spring. And that essentially means that the Red Sox are going to have to hopefully try to balance out this pitching staff in some capacity. I'm not overly confident in them making any more outside moves to bring in pitchers, even though they really should, especially with the starting pitching situation. But even with the bullpen, it could benefit them to bring in a guy or two because they are definitely lacking in left-handed pitching right now. I'm excited to see how Rodriguez can do up in the majors this year, but still definitely need some more. Boston has 59 players remaining in big league camp, including 20 non-roster invitees, so there could be more cuts coming. This is that time where they really try to iron out who could be a fit on the major league roster and who are they not seeing be a fit, and basically iron out those details so that they feel confident in the roster they have heading into opening day. Now, Brandon Walter, I absolutely agree with needing more time down at the AAA level because he did not nearly put up competitive enough numbers in the majors in 2023 for him to feel ready to come back up, and he definitely needs more work, and I'm hoping that by utilizing this time to be a key part of Worcester's rotation, he can really hone in on his strengths and weaknesses and figure out how he can develop his game to the point where he could maybe be called back up again at some point later on, because he could be part of the future for Boston. It's still too soon to say, but he definitely does need to get that velocity up a little bit. In 2023, his fastball was averaging about 91 miles per hour, so he definitely needs to try to get that up a little bit. He also had an 87 mile per hour cutter that he pitched 31% of the time, and an 80 mile per hour slider that he used 22% of the time. He also had a 4th pitch in a changeup that averaged about 83 miles an hour, and he used 16% of the time. So he had good pitch distribution overall. He has quite a few pitches on his resume that he can bring to the table, and he should definitely focus on continuing to master those pitches so that he could really come into 2024 feeling like he's a diverse pitcher and he can constantly fool hitters with different pitches, because a lot of times if you see a pitcher fold and they're not having a good season and they're not recording as many outs at as quickly of a rate, it's because they don't have a good variety in their pitch selection, so they're not able to mix it up enough, and it makes it easier for an opposing hitter to figure that out and hit off of them. So his main thing is he needs to get his velocity and confidence up in all four of those pitches in order for him to be more successful at the major league level. His fastball velocity was about in the 13th percentile, which is really not good. It's pretty poor. He needs to get that up. So he's giving up the long ball a lot. He's giving up a lot of hard hits because opposing hitters are able to hit him easier because the ball's not traveling at as fast of a rate. So he definitely needs to work on that for sure. But if he can continue to rely on those primary pitches in his cutter, fastball, slider, and changeup, then he could be in a good shape later on to contribute, because that's half the battle, right? Is just having enough pitches to work with. But he definitely needs to learn to pitch effectively against both right-handed and left-handed hitting and use all of those pitches effectively, really at any time he can be thrown into the game. And the Red Sox pitching staff should be able to feel confident with him out there, and the coaching staff should be able to say, okay, he can go out there and he has enough pitches that he can throw well in order to put us in position to succeed today. So I'm rooting for Brandon Walter. I think he's a pitcher who can do a lot of damage down the road for Boston. It's just a matter of how can he get that velocity up, and working in AAA and being part of a team that has worked a lot on pitching development this offseason to put the right people in place on the pitching coaching staff to help these guys develop is a good sign for him. He can work with some guys who really value that development process. So hopefully we'll see him again at some point, but the Red Sox do need to examine their pitching situation, and they're definitely taking a bit of a risk by only having 3 more left-handed pitchers here that they can rely on the 40-man roster. So we'll see what they end up doing about the pitching staff. But coming up, they did trade for a pitcher who could end up being a surprise steal. So I'm going to be touching on that next. Do you love playing fantasy sports? If you enjoy playing fantasy baseball, PrizePicks is the place for you. Testing my skills on PrizePicks this season is the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. If you have the skills, you can turn $10 into $1,000 with just a few taps. PrizePicks is really simple to play. I can make my picks and submit my entry in less than 60 seconds. Don't you love when things aren't time consuming, but you have a chance to win a lot of money? It really is not much effort at all. So if you head to PrizePicks today, you could start seeing the results immediately, which is nice. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what make PrizePicks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. This week on PrizePicks, I'm selecting Kevin Durant for more than 28 points and Trae Young for more than 10 assists. Both superstar players in the league, both average double digits in those categories, so it's a safe bet to make. Another thing you could make also is Steph Curry going for more than 29 points. Another basketball one that could be a safe pick for you to make because Steph is a very, very good shooter. So if you want to stick on the easier side with these fantasy picks, those are great choices to make. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That is code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match where you can get up to $100. It is highly encouraged that you head to PrizePicks today so that you won't be disappointed. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. I love PrizePicks. It's so easy and so little effort. So check it out today. Also, check out Locked On Sports today as we have launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube, and it's now also available on Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports today, now available on the free Fire TV channels app. It's very exciting for the network because nobody else has this. We are the first network to have a 24/7 sports streaming channel. So if you really want to look into it and make sure you're all caught up in everything going on in sports, it takes 2 seconds to follow it. So hit that follow button today on Locked On Sports today. The Boston Red Sox made a trade on February 17th with the Kansas City Royals, where they traded reliever John Schreiber and acquired David Sandlin, a right-handed pitcher. And David Sandlin is somebody who has been spoken very highly of. He was drafted by Kansas City in the 11th round, 325th overall out of Oklahoma in 2022. The 23-year-old righty went 4-1 with a 3.38 ERA over 58 and 2/3 innings with 22 earned runs and a 259 batting average against, along with 79 strikeouts and 13 walks in 12 starts for Low A Columbia in 2023. He also made 2 starts for High A Quad Cities, allowing 4 runs, 6 hits, 5 walks, and 8 strikeouts in 8 innings. Sandlin topped out at a 98 miles per hour pitch in a game last season, then reached 100 for the first time during an off-season workout. And it's very exciting that he reached 100. This is pretty noteworthy information for the Red Sox. And for him, it was the hardest pitch he's thrown, and then he dialed it back, realizing it was only February and he still has a little bit of time before the season. He also mentioned that the velocity increase has had to do more with mechanics than anything else. He's just focused on moving dynamically down the mound, getting his hips and shoulders aligned, and just having more of an athletic, sound movement rather than being static in his load and back leg. Another notable thing about Sandlin is that his Baseball America scouting report called him a sleeper who could take a jump forward in 2024 if he improves the rest of his arsenal beyond his fastball. So he needs to focus on developing more pitches, adding more to his pitching arsenal, but he's still at the lower levels, so he has time to improve and develop that. The fact that he's already hit 100 with his fastball is super notable and super good news for the Boston Red Sox that they could be getting a big diamond in the rough here who could eventually come up and contribute in the Boston Red Sox organization at the higher levels if he develops in the right way that the Red Sox hope that they will be. He was saying how his primary goal is just to go out there and compete every day and put his team in a position to win no matter what or no matter what level he's at. And then just keep the strikeouts up, walks down, pitch counts down, and win at bats and try to keep the ball in the yard and limit the home run ball. He just wants to make things easier for the game as a starting pitcher and make things easier for his team. He also does throw a slider, curveball, and split finger fastball. His slider is in the mid to upper 80s, and Baseball America actually noted that it has horizontal break and high spin rates. So he's getting a really high review from Baseball America, and the fact that that velocity on his fastball has gone up significantly and he continues to improve that. This kid could do absolute wonders in Boston if he makes it up to the major league level, which I hope he does. He works really hard. Seems like he has a great attitude towards the game. And this is something I wanted to point out because I did see people on Twitter talking about Schreiber and maybe why he was moved. And I think a lot of it has to do with the frustration of what happened with Lucas Giolito and what the Red Sox are really doing this offseason. And yes, there have not been a lot of notable, exciting, glamorous moves the Red Sox have made, but this David Sandlin kid is a pitcher that we can be excited about as Red Sox fans. I know we can. I like his attitude already. He's the type of player who can constantly improve because he has the attitude to do so and just wants to embrace every opportunity he has. So I, like this move. I trust that the Red Sox see something special in him, and obviously Baseball America does too. And John Schreiber was definitely on a downswing. Since he got injured, he kind of declined after that and hadn't really been able to get back to the effectiveness that he had in 2022. So the Red Sox are lucky they were able to trade him when they did. And I think it was a good time to trade him. And they got a kid in here as an alternative who is young, can continue to develop, and has so much potential. I just want to see him continue to improve that pitch resume as he goes about the rest of this offseason and heads into 2024. But I like this kid. I think he has a lot to offer, a lot to bring to the table to the Boston Red Sox. How will the Red Sox do come opening day? Time will tell. Only a few more weeks until we know for sure. But like I always say, just keep the faith, go Red Sox, and I will catch you on the flip side.